Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me, Catherine?
Yes, I can hear you very well now.
I can't hear you.
Wow, why?
Let's see.
No, it tells me that everybody can hear me.
Hello, hello, hello.
I hear you. Yes, hello.
I can't hear you.
Why?
Are you muted?
No. And now you can hear me now? Now I
I'm muted.
cannot hear you. Now I hear you.
All right, we're having a few difficulties here. Hold on.
Because it tells me that everyone can see and hear you.
You can hear me.
Yes.
I'm not hearing you at all.
It's something on your end,
Let's see
maybe.
here. And your volume is up. Maybe it's my volume. Guess
Yeah.
what? It's me. I forgot I turned that off earlier today because it kept dinging. Welcome everyone. This is A Winning World. It has been quite some time. I've been quarantined long before this actual quarantine and this crisis in our world. But I want to come to you. We're starting back again. We have our guest, Catherine. She'll tell you where she's from and where she is when we start talking. But I wanted to put out a disclaimer. We're going to have fun. We're going to laugh. We're going to, have jokes, but it's in no way to take anything away from the seriousness of what we're dealing with in our world, considering this COVID-19, which is no time to fear, but we have to use wisdom. And a lot of Christians from the Christian community, we're saying, God is, in control, which He is. We don't take anything from that. That is what we stand on. That is our faith. But the Bible says, render to Caesar what is Caesar's, and unto God what is God's. And at the end of the day, they're not telling us anything against our beliefs, but they're telling us something that will help keep us safe, keep us healthy, and keep us on this earth to be able to do what we were called to do, and that's to draw people to our loving Father. So with that said, I am going to welcome my friend, my sister, Catherine. How are you?
I'm very well, very well. Very happy to see you again for this channel. And I hope I will not have to beg you not to publish this.
Actually, we're live. We are live. But, where are you now? Where are you living?
um, Shermanda, what do you mean we are live? We are
It,
recording for
it's,
our,
it's recording.
but not live.
Yes, it's live.
What do you mean? It's broadcasting outside?
It's on the A Winning World brought on A Winning World page. You
You're
look.
not. This is a surprise. You didn't tell me it's
Yes,
live.
I told you we were gonna go live.
I thought you said recorded for our purposes. Now
No,
let's not.
it's it's
Let's.
re- it's just we're not talking about business. We're gonna do that at a later time. This is basically on the COVID-19 and our winning, how we're winning still, and those questions that I sent to you earlier. So nothing major.
Yes. Okay.
You look beautiful as always.
Okay. Yes. So let's go ahead.
Okay. So where are you from, Catherine?
I'm from Moldova originally,
And where are you right now?
in the Washington D.C.
Okay. How long have you been here?
Oh, for 7 years already.
7 years, 7 years. So how is everything going with you, with this COVID-19? What's going on with you?
We're okay. I'm okay. Thank you. We are working from home, continue
Mhm.
to work. And the idea is that it disciplines you in many ways. It shows you some things that you didn't know about you know, like for example, that uh, this coronavirus situation, it's a distraction for your life, and you learn how to manage still your direction in life and your goals through a major distraction. So I was receiving a lot of emails from business owners who are trying to sell something, who are trying to encourage, and they kept constantly paying attention to this. Are you in this camp or in another camp? Are you in this camp who are totally distracted, or you are in the camp where you are swinging between distraction and trying to focus? And I was in that camp between focus and distraction. But then I really managed to internalize it, own it, believe that this is happening. And then I said, I will go on with my goals and my activity. But we are humans,
Yeah.
and that crisis only show us that we are human. And that means that you will still go through a roller coaster of emotions. That was a flagship thing. But this is not the main thing. The main thing is that we are learning big time to go back, go back to empowering emotions and better emotions. So that was sort of my themes right now.
Well, what you're talking about, my son actually put a twist on that last week for me. He said, Mom, God is allowing the earth to heal. So, though it's a distraction from the things that we're used to and that we've gotten ourselves caught up in, I think it's when he said it's a healing time, I said, you know what? It really is, because we all had to take a step back. Like I said, I've been in this place for quite some time, long before all of this. And God had begun healing me in many areas and just drawn me closer to him than I've ever been before. And didn't realize wasn't where I just love where I am now, and how I'm growing. But the healing part is that, we got to step back and really evaluate our lives, to make that transition, to say, you know what, am I doing what I really want to do for the rest of my life? Or are there other things that maybe I've overlooked? And your brain is actually able to now kind of shut down a little bit, though many are still having to work from home, that have that, because that's actually a blessing, because so millions have lost their jobs. But it's a time that you can take a step back, connect with your God, your creator, connect with your family, and connect with yourself to, do the things that maybe you've longed to do. Like you said, you were caught in between, moving from this way to that way, to not doing anything stagnant, but you found your groove, and eventually you do that. But we have to realize that, like my son said, and he put it so eloquently, this is a time for our world to heal. Everything is healing. Everything, you don't have as much pollution out there in the world, because there are not that many cars on the road and vehicles, so, and then for us, we're in, like I said, it's time to just rethink, reconnect. We're eating better because we can't go, to all these fast food places you don't want to go, because
Yeah.
it's dangerous out there. So you're having to kind of reconnect to those times when life was a little bit more simpler and less hectic and less, hustle and bustle. And I don't know how long this is going to last, and how many people are actually taking the time to see it as a time of healing. How many times, people are, in that place of still fearing, and not trusting that, everything happens for a reason. Nothing happens unless God allows it. That's just what I believe. So it's
And
just a healing time.
and it's so true. Like I this crisis reminded me again, and so many people around me that tell me this, that it's amazing when you think that you learned a lesson, the life will bring you that lesson so that it tests you again, because you know from your all your experiences that so many times in the retrospection, when you look backwards, you will say, hey, that was a meaningful time, it prepared me for that, I had time to do that, I switched that. But all the time when you are in the middle, especially in the middle of such an upheaval, it's difficult to see that.
Yes.
And that reminded us again that, hey, it's not that this is absolutely extraordinary. It might have seemed, but still, it is part of a disruption that you will think back and you will say that it was almost the same way that I was being taught by life in another circumstance, right? So,
And
so many
hopefully we hope people get that you don't pass through this time and get back into that move and say, man,
movement.
I wish I could have taken advantage of the time, the downtime that I had, back then
Yes.
when I couldn't see the blessing in it. I was seeing the curse in it.
Exactly, because I remember once Oprah was saying that anytime when you go through something dramatic and something like you need to take your power back and go to the other side, you crave to go back, but actually you should never go back. You should always go upper. And I think this is what some people might miss now, that because they are so attached to this idea that if something was taken from them, they
Yes,
don't see the blessing. And when I hear myself saying that, it's almost like
yes,
a cliche, but it's
yes,
so true, right? And from my emotional intelligence knowledge, it's this skill that is going to be the skill of the 2020s, which is adaptability.
yes,
And
yes,
this adaptability is literally seeing things in a different way and seeing how you can do things differently and how you can flexibly and quickly adapt to a specific situation. This
yes,
doesn't mean that you don't have right for time to reflect, even to grieve, even
yes.
to be sad a little bit, which I notice from my experience. If I tell myself, okay, I'm gonna be sad for 2 hours, okay, so, and really, or I'm going to escape through Netflix for 3 hours, and then, so it's like you play with your mind, right? And then you go back. So what I understand is that we need to be self-aware of what
Yes,
is happening right now. So if you
yes,
ask me one thing that is key now, it's self-awareness, because you can switch back from this awareness that I'm in control and something is happening for me.
yes. And when you think you're in control and then everything goes out of control, only those, how do you say, who was that? Who was that made that saying, only the strong will survive? Was that, which,
Somebody said, yeah, like tough times don't last, but tough people
it's
do.
Freud or somebody that made this thing. But I do understand that because when life happens, it can literally knock you off your feet. And you can get back up, but it's like finding that place again. And only those that have made that true connection can make that bounce back. But then that's why we're doing this A Winning World, to show people, you know what, irrespective to where you are, what you're going through. There are people from all walks of life, from all around the world, who, yes, this has affected us all in some form or fashion, but
Yes.
we're choosing to win. So, I mean, have you had times where you just felt maybe depressed through this thing? And then, what did you do to pull yourself out of it? What's actually happening to you, Catherine?
So, as I said, thank God we are all okay and everything okay so far. The only thing I wasn't, I was like everybody else, fearing, of course, anxiety for your family, for your friends, and I needed to deal with my parents. I needed to explain to them that they need to take us, these responsible steps to be at home. My parents literally understood my father is a little bit different. He needed extra instructions to still grasp the seriousness of that. And
Mm-hmm.
so, of course, I was concerned because they are not like young, and you know that this crisis affects older people.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my concern, right? But then what I was thinking that is that again it's about self-awareness.
Yes,
I
yes,
I was low for a while, and for example during the day there were 10 days when during one day I could experience all type of emotions.
yes,
And yet the realization that I understand that right now I'm experiencing those emotions, this power, this skill that I developed and everybody can develop, is that right now I'm experiencing sort of anxiety.
yeah,
And okay, so I'm aware of that, but also based on neuroscience and even faith, like even
yeah,
everywhere where you look at all type of sources, they will tell you the same meaning, that an emotion is not you. An
yes,
emotion is an experience in your body or your brain, wherever, we will not know, but it's an experiential
mm-hmm.
experience, not
Mm-hmm.
an existential thing. So taking this approach that what is happening right now, it's an experience, and
Yes,
I this immediately implies that you have some control, or a lot of control over this emotion, since I'm not the emotion. But what happens most of the time when you are in this fear or depression, you have a feeling that this is what is happening.
yes,
And so that I realized that, and then again, and then I'm angry at my father because he didn't understand to
yeah,
sort of take the mask today. And
yes,
so I said, "Oh, okay." But I was so happy that I really witnessed that I am angry.
that's it,
That
yeah,
again diminished the power of anger.
mm-hmm.
And then I said, now I'm going to be focused. And then I realized, oh, I'm focused now. Okay, that's good. So this is the self-awareness part, which now you need to have it more than ever. So once I applied even such an exercise, I was having an object in my hand, just to remind myself all the time, because even psychology is saying self-awareness is attention, and then attention of the attention. You need to remember that you lost the attention.
Mm-hmm.
So I was having something in my mind, like, oh, okay, I need to go back to my attention. So that's how you need to fight for your self-awareness.
Yes, yes,
And then the second thing was what you do with this awareness. When you realize that you have anxiety or fear, then I like this. John Maxwell, I heard him yesterday somewhere on a platform. He said it's impossible to get rid of the negative emotion per se. What you can do is that you realize that you have fear and faith at the same time. And it's so true. It's just that what you need to feed and focus. So feed the faith all the time. So that's what I was doing in terms of self management.
yes. And you know, it's one of those things, it is so easy to get upset with everyone. You understand one thing, and you understand it in a way, you know, because of your education, because of what you've been, you know, exposed to. And then you have your older parents and even just older siblings, you know. I have even people my age that feel that, you know what, hey, this thing is going to pass, and they don't take it seriously. And you're seeing and you understand that, yes, I'm glad you have the faith that you have. But like I said, I always tell them, unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and unto God what is God. We have to listen to our leadership. We have to pray for our leadership. The only time you don't listen is when it's taking you out of your faith, when it's taking you away from what God has directed you to do, you know, because they're the experts in that area. And we have to realize that many people haven't gone through a lot of the educational, you know, things that we have. You know, both of us went through an amazing, you know, experience down in South Florida, when it came to our businesses. Not everyone can see things in that light. So, you know, I could hear you saying, you know, you were getting angry and getting upset. And, it's one of those things. It's like, you know what? We're not in control. All we can do is give the information, trust and believe that people will, take it to heart and know that, what, at the end of the day, the bloodstained banner is over our doorpost, over our lives, and God is going to keep us. And, just release it in that, because you can't afford to have all of that anxiety and that pressure, when you're taking on the world. You do your part and you breathe it out and say, you know what? I trust and believe that we're all going to be okay. So dad is going to be okay.
Exactly. So the key concept I keep hearing from people, which helps them, is this idea of what I'm in control. I'm not in control of
Yes.
what's happening. I'm in control of what I can do right
What you
now.
can do.
And
Yes.
you can take control of your attitude. You know that my beloved one of my favorite authors is Viktor Franklin. He wrote this book, Man's Search for Purpose,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he was saying that the only thing you can be in control and can make a difference in your life, can kill you or thrive you, is the attitude.
Yes.
And he used it in a concept. He said that in the concentration camps, he was observing, as a
Mm-hmm.
scientist, he was observing how attitude was saving a lot of people,
Yeah.
right? And exactly in other settings is the same thing. If we have the attitude that, okay, I'm not in control, then you accept it easy and you
Yes.
say, okay, I can do things that I am in control. I can keep my sanity. I allow a little bit of negative emotions, but then I get into empowering emotions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
And it's true. It's one of those things when you talk about the attitude. What I have come to know is that, and you talked about purpose. We're all seeking for a purpose, but those that have not found their purpose and have not found their way and have just been living life the way the world, so wants them to, they're the ones that's more easily, in the place of falling off than those that have a dream, have a goal, have a desire, have something that they're able to. How Les Brown said, if you fall down, you want to fall down on your back, because as long as you can look up, you can get up, right? So when you go through things and you're able to remember what you were working towards, it's easy to get back up on your feet. But when people haven't found that they're born to live for what they were created to do, that's when you have people that commit the suicides and things of that nature. So our emotions, our attitude is all directed by what we've connected to and been able to dream. If you don't have a dream in your heart, in your soul, what is life? So, it's one of those things I would encourage anyone that's caught up in this crisis, that's home and maybe, waiting to get back to a job. Take the time to say, you know what was I created to do? What am I supposed to be doing now? Because life does happen. Sometimes things halt and you don't expect it. So what can I do in the interim and not lose myself and not feel like, oh, it's me? No, great, it's you. Find that greatness that is within you, grab a hold of it, and do the things that you always wanted to do that you couldn't do because you were busy working, to get this done and get that done. Because the time is going to come back, but you may find the very thing that you've desired to do is the thing that's going to take you even greater than that you've done all these years.
you have no idea how many times during these last 3 weeks I've heard this idea that in many people's lives it was such a huge disruption, and in a way many myths or beliefs that they were holding, fears, all crashed. And in many people's lives I don't know, I mean, we don't have statistics on that,
Yeah.
but I guess many people hit rock bottom, or they're disappointed. They realize that they can lose their job in a second, or maybe nobody cares about their skills, like how vulnerable they are. And of course
Yes.
we are all vulnerable in general. We will
Yeah.
never be not vulnerable. But the idea is that many people said that there was a surge of power in them, of a positive emotion, transmuting this disappointment and feeling of loss into something purposeful, saying, I'm not gonna fear anymore. I kind of like lost everything. All my fears came true. So okay, now I'm gonna now I'm gonna move towards, and so many people advise, look at this period of time as a chance and as an opportunity to find what you want to do in life.
Yeah.
I heard that I watched a video the other day, and the presenter was saying that you, in times of fear, you might freeze, you might take the survival mode, which is again self-awareness. Immediately you will go into the survival mode. But if you apply this self-awareness, you'll say, okay, no, actually I'm not going to go into survival mode. And what is survival mode? Meaning short term solutions, like, okay, I'm going to apply here and there without you wanting that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you say, hey, let me go through this and let me at least envision and start planting this idea that I can work on something that I wanted always, or
That's
maybe
it.
now I'll start figuring out, or even not or, but and slash or, let me see what new problems appeared in this world, and how can I help
Yes.
somebody with my gifts and talents. I'll never be the same person after I read the Purpose Driven Life.
But yes.
Uh, and it was like the narrative was like, it's not a choice, it's an obligation to use your skills and talents.
That
And
is.
then I read books from other types of thoughts, like more scientific psycho-cybernetics, what else, the flow. All those are pointing into the direction that we are starting to get into an era
Mm-hmm.
of purpose. Let's say
Yes.
our parents and grandparents, more or less, they sort of lived in an era where the concept, the predominant concept was having a job and trading time just for. So we are conditioned. Everyone says this.
Yes.
We are conditioned to just go to school and not to think, because
Mm-hmm.
if you think, you have an answer. And now there is a book called Purpose Economy. There is another book called The Purpose Effect. All these books bring science and research from universities and other resources about the idea that we are entering an era where if you do not understand your skills, desires, abilities, and gifts from nature, then you are not going to be as competitive, because a critical mass of people will start living on purpose and
Yes.
develop a mindset of taking your life in your hands. By the way, this coronavirus, in a way, it sparked and exacerbated this idea that, hey, wake up, we are in the era of you taking charge of
Come on.
yourself. And
Yes.
somebody would say, but before I was also in charge. No, you were in charge, but in a way, the mindset was like, where can I work? Who is offering jobs? Like
Yes.
now, it's like, no, what I want to do, create and contribute.
Yes.
That's the shift. And I want to share this idea, which is, that I'm passionate about because I read a lot about that. It's that you simply don't have a chance to not know what you want deeply and what your vision is. And that vision is based on your analysis, what you are gifted
Mm-hmm.
and what you want combining. So you need to figure it out, and then based on all the science of flow, of
Mm-hmm.
achievement, is based on this idea that if you are doing something that you love, you'll be much better at it. That's the concept of flow, that when you like it, you are entering a field where you are almost downloading energy and ideas from the infinite intelligence that it's out there.
Yes. And understanding that success is relative. It's where you are. Don't look and see what this person is doing, that person is doing. Look within yourself, because, we may be in the business arena, but someone else may be the best that being a mother or father in the home, and reconnecting and grounding that home as never before, getting in that kitchen and cooking and learning how to do recipes together, that success in and of itself as well. So it's important for everyone to find their own winning. We're living in a winning world, and every job, every you know place in our society is needed. Every what do you call it? um, I hate to say job because but our callings. And you talked about the books. And the one book that I always refer back to when it comes to the gifts and the talents, there was where the master had left and gave three of his servants talents, and one buried his, and the others multiplied theirs, they doubled them. And the one that buried his gift, like I said, it doesn't matter what your gift is. Your gift could be that you're the best mom or you're the best dad, and that you're keeping that house at a level that you haven't been able to keep it at, or whatever. Or you may be that successful person like my sister Catherine, is actually working on her business model to, go to the world. She has it. It's what's in her. It's what she was called to do. So with that, from one end to the next, it's all relative. Success is what you see. Don't look to the left nor to the right, but use your gift, because when you don't use that God has given to you, you're looked at as a wicked person, because I gave you something and you didn't use it. He was that person that buried their talent, their gift, was cast out and called wicked. So we don't want to be called wicked. We want to be found pleasing. So if you have one gift or 10 gifts, if you're able to, put things in motion and just make it come to life, guess what? That is winning. Don't get caught up on this is success and that is success. Because you know what? That's something we've also been taught, Catherine. That, you got to be a doctor, you got to be a lawyer, you got to be, you got to go to school, to the university, only to go work in a factory. I call these corporations, we call them corporations, but it's still a factory. You have, the first level of people that's a little bit lower, and as you move up the floors, you get the higher ups. So it's like a factory of workers. It's just now with the professional twist to it. Work for the corporation, but it's still a factory. So we've been taught that getting in these things is life and living, and for some people it is, because they're needed in their place. But my thing is
And you
this:
can find a lot of purpose in companies, a
you
lot of
can.
purpose.
You
Yes,
can, but what I'm saying is sometimes that's all we've been driven to do. We haven't
exactly.
been driven to own our own companies. We haven't been driven to, get out in the community and are driven to just be the best housemaker, in life.
Or to look for your company. It's more the mindset that I go where I am received, or I go where
Exactly.
it's easier, or there are opportunities. It's you know what, I like this concept. I don't even remember, it came from me or I read it somewhere, but it was saying that be careful not to be the second actor in your own
Wow.
life. And
Wow, that's
isn't it
good.
true? I even felt
Hmm,
once
hmm.
exactly this. That's why it resonated with me. I felt that I am not the main actor in my own life. Why? Because I was having the feeling that I'm looking for opportunities, attaching myself to here or there, but not
Yes.
coming from, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
and this is 90% of our us, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
and then one day you realize that you are um secondary in somebody's place, so you and you need to generate, to create something yours, not in terms of creating an entity, but like living your life as if you want to do that. I remember who said that, L. Nightingale or somebody else, who said that um, make no mistake, the definition of success is not how much you achieve, but that
That's it.
you do, but that the definition of success is that you do what you do by choice.
Yes, and you're happy. You're content right where you are within
Eh,
yourself.
So
because it
yeah,
starts within us. We're oftentimes taught to look for happiness outside of ourselves. It starts in here, and if everything else is an additive. It's something that adds more joy or
yes,
what have you. But once it's taken away, like stock market, some people blow their brains out because the money just left. So their stock and their thought process was caught up in the money, so they had lost themselves. They couldn't see themselves as the jewel, as the gold, as as the wealth. We ourselves have wealth within us. We have to come to that place of knowing I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wise. I God is within me, and everything that I need is found within. And then you share it out, and people are able to enjoy that. You're able to enjoy others. But like I said, just like COVID-19, this coronavirus came through, things were wiped away, and some people don't know which way they're going because they had
yeah,
never found that peace within. And that's part of, I think, what my son, when he said a time for healing, I'm like, that's what this is all about. This is a time for us to heal and just recenter ourselves, and make a roadmap for yourself from this point going forward, that
yeah,
should once I get back into this, what will I do? It may even just be saving more money, putting savings aside, or having things in place that will help make life a little bit easier for you. Or it may be creating a job, starting your own business, or
yeah.
what have you. So
Um, and yes, Shumanda, I just wanted to add this about gifts because this is so important in this context, meaning that gifts, it's easy. Sometimes we don't know what our gifts are, but let's say we know, we sort of figure it out. But
mhm,
then we need to develop the gifts. That's the key point,
yes,
because I deeply believe one thing: the gifts and the goals and the vision, the deepest desires, are given to us by some sort of force that is directing us toward what we need to improve in ourselves. Think
yes,
about that. We have a vision. The second we go towards that vision, it's by law. We
mhm,
will have obstacles and difficulties, um, because simply that we need to go to a next level when we start to implement that vision. That's not uh, mentioned by me, it's by everybody is
mhm,
saying the journey of the vision is sort of step by step, and it's not easy. You need to overcome your mindset, you need to
yes,
overcome external things, you need to develop in yourself things
yes,
that you didn't know that you didn't have. For example, Oprah is always saying your number one job is to match your personality to your purpose. That's nothing other than saying that you'll never have the required traits of like skills, abilities, even mindset of the vision that you want to achieve. You will always be behind. It's somehow by definition, because, and that led me to the idea that our vision and our goals are always as a tool, but the
yes.
key meaning is that we go through
Come
them
on, yeah.
and improve our mindset, get, like freedom and all sort of things that I think Paulo Coelho was saying in his book Alchemist, and then in interviews, including with Oprah, I think, but I heard him on different channels saying that every time when you want to achieve your purpose in life,
Mhm.
uh, life will test you again, even before winning, because it wants to make sure you learn the lesson, which again brings us to the same idea that the journey of our goals is the journey to our self improvement.
Come
And
on.
that's why, right? That's why we will never have a gift picked like that and and benefit from it. I think we will always develop our gifts, and in their journey we find ourselves and develop our highest version of ourselves.
And
That's just very important.
that is so on point, because even when I started this A Winning World journey, I'd known winning, and all of a sudden I lose at something greatly, not understanding, but I realized that I had to lose. There's a song that this lady named Fantasia sings, "You gotta lose to win." Hers was talking about in relationship, but mine was in spirituality. But it was like God allowed me to go through something only so that I could fight my way back up through it to realize exactly who I really was and what was actually in me. I didn't, you have something, but here it is. I'm doing this thing on a winning world. I'm talking to people from around the world, collecting all of these stories, and all of a sudden, boom, life happens, and it's like I lost my footing and I had to lose. But now coming back into this thing, I'm understanding winning and losing at a whole nother level. And I can appreciate and I can offer to people something I never would have been able to offer, or, from a genuine heart of truly, understanding that empathy, sympathy, what have you, of what it's like to really lose in life. So I've gone through, like this stage that I had to. He gave me something that I had to run with, but it was like I had to go back and learn something to truly embrace this at the level that I can embrace it now. And it's beautiful. It's I wouldn't say that I would want to have to go through that again, but I realized it taught me, it grew me, um, and I'm still me through it all. I grew, I learned more about myself, I learned more about my father, and I realized that he had to gut out some things that I just didn't know were there and lingering. And that's what this type of a crisis comes through. You don't know what you're made of until you actually go through a crisis. No one
I
wants
like
to go through a crisis.
so somebody said it somewhere last week. I heard that um when you squeeze did you hear this metaphor? When you squeeze an orange, what's coming through? What is it coming through? It's coming through juice, right? Orange
Yes,
juice,
yes,
not apple juice. So in a way, the metaphor was that uh, in crisis times, uh, it reveals us who we
yeah,
are,
yes,
but not in this sense that okay, this is who we are, fearful because now we are experiencing fear.
yeah,
No, it's just revealing some things that you need to deal with. I
yes.
strongly believe in that. So this crisis can show us our strength,
Whew,
and
ain't
at
no
the same
weaknesses.
and at the same right and at the same time it shows us sometimes things that we always needed to deal with. I
Yes,
liked so much this idea because uh because and that's a key point what I wanted right now. I recalled that it's important right in this moment to say that emotions, we should not always distract them or say okay, I'm focusing on positive. No, sometimes emotions, that's what emotional intelligence theory tells
yes.
us. Emotions always carry some information from you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, some of them come from the negative self talk from our ancestors that we need to run from. Lions and tigers, and that we need to be protected, and that's why it's considered negative self-talk, is that we always catch threats and we say oh, this colleague disrespected me, I'll perhaps lose the job. It's because the brain pays attention almost always to the negative, because our poor brain, it wants to protect us, to
Yes,
warn us. But you
yes,
can say hey, thank you, and so and say thank you, and go ahead. So emotions bring some information, either that's just self-talk for you to survive and you say okay, thank you, or as I said, something more important, something that you needed to tackle, uh, an insecurity from your childhood, a
yeah,
fear that you needed to outgrow by now, but somehow it's still there
yeah,
because those neuro connections are so strong. You kept that emotions for so long, and
yeah,
this refractory period was so much there for so long time, and that event was so strong. You paid a lot of attention. That's why it got like a snapshot in your mind, and you can't get rid of it. And it's there, and it blocks your life. So it says no. now you need to take care of it.
Yes.
So when I heard that psychologist, she was saying, so this time something will reveal about you. Just
Mm.
sit with the emotion and understand, why is that fear? Is it fear of scarcity? Are
Sorry
you
about that.
fearing that you, so are you fearing that you are not going to be able to cope with the changes? Are
Mhm.
you fearing that you perhaps not being able to adapt, or you're going to be poor, or nobody will hire you? All this is telling you something, some belief system that you have,
Yes.
and it is an opportunity, right, to understand what's going on. That's why it's saying that the orange will squeeze, the juice will show you what is there, good and bad, strength and something that you need to deal with. And now it's the time to heal, as you said, to address those.
And you know, one of the things we use in the church is the olive oil, that it comes with the pressing, that you get the oil from the olive, right? But also when you look at it's like anything that's of value comes from something that presses it. You look at the diamond in the press, you know, it's got to go through that heat, isn't it? To go through the
I
fire.
could never reconcile with this idea. When I hear this, everything worth doing is hard. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want that.
You don't want it. But you know the beauty that comes out of it. It's just like the things that are broken, when they're mended back and working, though it may have scars, and you may see this sometimes, it makes the most beautiful, you know, canvas that you've ever seen, the most beautiful vase, than something that was just molded and made, and there's nothing that can, you know, teach you anything. You know, there's nothing. So I know we don't like the ugly stuff, we don't like the bad stuff, we don't want to go. Who wants to go through anything? But through going through, that's how we gain wisdom, understanding and knowledge. Sometimes we can learn from each other just by talking, like, you know, what we're doing. We're hoping that people will hear our stories and grab a hold and say, you know what, if they can do it, I can do it too, you know, in their own arena. So but we've had to go through something in order to be able to present this information.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And one of
it's
the
a beautiful
strongest,
thing.
say
Well,
again?
I say it's a beautiful thing, you know,
Yes,
regardless.
yes.
It turns out very beautiful going through
I
the
think one
press.
of the strongest concept is that I don't know why it works this way on our psychology, but it says that when we realize that other people also go through a lot of pain and
Mhm.
through a journey, it's then when we somehow think, oh, I'm not that broken, or I'm like everybody else.
Mhm.
Because again, Shumanda, I'm telling you, in our system, in a way, we are not taught about all this journey, about this emotional intelligence, and we think that we are by ourselves. Oh my God, almost by our 30s, 40s. Look, I mean, people are having insights like that. Maybe this is by design, by nature, not to
Yes.
tell us anything in school. Maybe we can't grasp it at that time. Maybe the design of life is just that we need to learn it ourselves. But still, sometimes you realize it's a little bit cruel. I'm now in my late 30s, and I'm like, again, I didn't grasp this concept that these painful experiences are not the end of the world. I will go through, because so often we are not taught these concepts that, hey, you have a season and then you will go. Oh, it's such a simple concept, but sometimes people are caught in that. You really start to believe that this is who you are, this is what your life is going to be. But one of the key realization in my life through painful experience was that, huh, I just experienced these hundreds of people, and they went through something unbelievable and they were on the other side. Huh,
Mhm.
which means that even if it's 10 years, in a way, it's not
Mhm.
your total like life. So life is unfolding all the time. It's such a simple concept. It took time for me to understand. I couldn't believe. I could.
But it's like the winter, spring, summer, and fall. Winter's what? Everything dies off in the winter time. And there comes a time in our life that things die off. They turn brown. They turn, they disappear. But
But you
then,
agree with me because
yeah,
we are
yes,
not taught these concepts and people give up. And because
yes,
of, like,
yes,
listen, because exactly of this notion that, this is perhaps my life, and not that, this is just a season and I will go over,
yes,
and that everybody in life, in a way, is supposed to go through this. Because of that, people lose faith and go down the road, when.
yes. Well, they got to realize, just like there are seasons in this world, in the weather, there's seasons in our lives. There are seasons even in the atmosphere when you look at what's going on now. So everything has a season and a time, and there's a place for everything. But there's a
Yeah.
coming out. The springtime comes, the sun shines, and the autumn,
Yes.
the blossoming of just all the beauty of everything. So hey, it's our lives, and at the end of the day,
And for
we're
some
winning
people,
if
for
we're
some
living.
people they might say that, for some people they might think that this exact period is like a derailment, and it
Yeah.
was for me, that I had to adjust my goals and everything. But one day I thought this, so I need to keep the eye on my vision
Hmm.
and not on my goals specifically, because I'm very determined on specific goals. But you need to adjust goals, and then you lose your motivation if if you need to adjust goals too much. But the key thing, what keeps you in the game, is the fact that still I have my vision, and then specific goals I can adapt to it, and also, Shermanda, in this time of coronavirus, it's, as we talked,
Hmm.
first step is see the silver lining. So either
Yeah,
discover your goals or don't give up on the
that's it.
goals.
That's it.
Literally, don't give up, because it's very easy. Just adjust it and
Yeah.
apply this skill of adaptability. And if you have the notion of adaptability, you'll see this theory of the skill that you need to adapt and do
Mhm.
things in a different way, and adapt your creativity will come, and then you'll master this adaptability, and because you'll have to do it more and more and more. I don't think any human beings lived in such a rapid cycle of change. You'll have to do it more. But the key thing is now to avoid the fear and you being derailed by negative emotions is literally this. I started, I believe so much in taking action to
Yes.
counteract distraction,
Hmm.
to counteract this fear. I don't know how many people told me the same thing. If you fear something, is just before the fear. When you start doing the thing, it somehow disappears, which means it's not almost even real. It's always before. I
Hmm.
remember long time ago, I was dreading a report writing. I didn't know how to do it. I was grabbed by anxiety. The moment I would start to do it, it was easing, it was going away, and I was in this other realm of creativity.
Hmm. Hmm.
I will never forget an experience of mine when, by the way, it was you there too, when we had to
The team
uh,
building day.
the team building, and specifically for me the height, when we needed to cross that bar like this, and it
Yes.
was not like this, but it was like this, so it was not very, and but we couldn't see it from downstairs, down right. I only could see it there when I reached there, that it was like this. So it was so scary. And so why I'm bringing this story is to illustrate this concept of just move and start, and the creation in the universe starts in a very confused state. That's what I wanted to say. It will never be clear. I'm starting. So you remember, you were all down there, and
Yes.
I was there gripped by fear. I didn't know I had this phobia of height. I thought I'm okay.
Yeah.
But again, do you remember how narrow that stick, or
Y-
how is it called, the bar? So it was like this. My foot was just like this. So you could, And so I'm telling you, I experienced the fear of death. I thought that this is a physical threat and I will or can die.
Yes.
So remember the instructor told us that your colleagues are holding them like,
Yes,
really? Like
you weren't
colleagues?
alone and you're harnessed up, but it's still you're thinking you're by yourself.
I know. So I go there and you guys say, hey, go, go, go. And
Yes,
I
you can
froze.
go.
I couldn't.
Yes.
And I remember, I said that I'll put it in my book. This will be like almost like a chapter. That experience showed me so many things. So, what specifically showed me is the idea that two things. I
Yeah.
could not let go of the, how's it called? This,
There was a harness, a harness that
yes,
you were
exactly.
on.
So I
Yes.
could not let go. And you like, it was embarrassing. It was 4 minutes, right? And you kept saying, let go. I'm like, no. And so I had to go through this transformation and literally say that I will do it because I will regret all my life and I can die now that I can do it. Wow. When I said that and I realized I said, wow, that's something new. I literally transcended myself in this second. Okay, so I
Yes.
let go of that thing and then I start. And so I go like this, so slowly. And when I was in the middle, the fear was so big. I couldn't understand. I literally thought I was going to die. And then I was so confused that this is happening. And
Yeah.
then I associated that this is a creation process. I was as an intruder. I couldn't believe I'm already in the middle, which means
Yeah.
that it's so my mind couldn't catch up,
Yes.
which is
There was
what
no
is happening.
turning back. There was no
There was
turning
no
back.
turning back. And so then I read in psychoanalytics, not psycho, sorry,
Okay.
psychocybernetics book. This guy was saying exactly this, that the universe will help you in the moment there in the
Yes.
middle of the bar, but not when you're at the beginning. So in the
Yes.
process. So I was like, is this happening? And I was confused that I'm already this winner. I couldn't go back. And then the second insight, strong insight and breakthrough was, okay, I'm in the middle now. I'm in the creation process. I'm still confused and I cannot own, it's not me doing this, but how can I survive? I cannot go back. How can I go there? And then, Sharmanda, the power of focus was forever revealed to me. So what I did, I saw a small dot at the end of that bar.
Mm.
And I swear I took that dot and never let it go for the embarrassing 15 minutes slow that I went that 3 meters or whatever. And so you were, remember, you were screaming, go, go. But I was not looking back, left, right, no noise cancellation, everything, just
Woo!
that dot.
Yes.
That dot saved me. Then I reached that
Mm.
dot, and then I'm like, I'm not there. I need another dot. So I
Mm.
desperately looked for another dot, and I reached there.
Mm.
I'm telling you, two insights how the creation works. You'll be
Oof.
confused, but you'll not be able to go back. And second, it's that the focus does everything. So,
It's like life and death. And you just reminded me of something because I had made up in my mind that I was going to just be the picture taker because I couldn't walk. I was basically in my walker, in my wheelchair. I was back and forth, so I could walk sometimes, but then I had to have people pushing me. And that instructor said, "No, you're going to participate in this team building too." So you roll me up, and everybody's doing what they're doing. I couldn't climb like you all had to, that increment to look down. And what you all did, they harnessed me from the bottom, and all of you pulled me all the way to the top so that I could experience, you know, what everyone else was experiencing. And as you were speaking, I said, "Oh my goodness, you mentioned one thing, and then you mentioned this other, and it was not looking to the left nor to the right." The Bible tells us we have to keep our minds focused, and it's easy to get distracted, which is how we started this conversation. But as you were saying, sometimes you feel like I felt that I was all alone, and it was I had accepted that, I may not be able to participate. And in life, we sometimes just settle and say, you know what, this is where I am, and I'm by myself, and it's okay. And I want to tell you, it's not okay. You don't have to settle, because I had a team. Catherine was part of that team. They made everything that we did, I was able to participate. That leader was amazing. I forget what his name was, but he was spectacular in how he carried us through those exercises. But when you all pulled me up and let me go, it was like life came. And as you were speaking here today, I'm like, wait a minute. There's more. I literally heard there are more for you than against you. And sometimes you could go through things in life and you feel that everyone's turned their back on you. Everyone's, looking at you a certain way. And it's not that. You have people that, if only you reach out, if only, you embrace it, and know that there are more for you than are against you. You all were for me. And
Yeah, yeah.
you all not only took me up once, you took me up again. So I was like, I flew down that thing, and I was like, you know what? I'm ready to jump out of plane now. Somebody have to horse me up and attach me to themselves. I can't land on my feet like everyone else right now. But if I could do this, I can do something else. And like you said, when you got up there, you had to focus in, but you also had to trust. And that's something that we don't, it's hard to do, because we feel that we're the only ones that can make our dreams come true. We're the only ones that can do this thing the right way or do it the way we see it. But
Yes, yes.
it all happens in the team. And you had to, at some point, though you made that focal point, you knew that your teammates were not gonna let you fall. I was even down there
Exactly.
holding that rope, in my chair. They,
Exactly. You're so right. It was such a dual experience. I felt so
yes,
alone. So alone. I felt like nobody can help you now.
Jesus.
And at the same time, you
Whew.
were there, and I knew that you were there. And as I said, this
Mm,
focus thing is that you need to know that how important focus is, but also even the more important breakthrough was that you will have this focus when you are sort of pushed. And I think this crisis, in a way, you need to tell yourself that this is a positive crisis.
whew,
Let's
yes.
Because that was a crisis thing, and it
Hmm.
pushed me. So I could transcend myself in a second when I decided that I will start the process. I
Yes.
mean, I don't know how to explain how scary it was, that because that thing was almost like a pencil, you know.
Well, it
I
started out thick, and then it got narrower, but you couldn't see
yes,
it narrow going up.
it was the scariest thing in my life. So I couldn't let go. But once you let go, you will figure it
Ah,
out, you know. So that's the key thing. Once you start,
yes.
how many actresses I
Yeah.
heard saying, if I knew
Mm,
how many things I didn't know, I would have never
yes.
started.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So you just go there because
Mm,
mm, because and as I said again, this feeling of like, I'm not doing this. I'm an intruder. I mean, I don't know what's happening. It's not a legitimate process that I'm doing. It's something confusing. But
yes.
you overcome all this. No, that's for sure. Yeah. So
You do, and you realize it actually has to start with you. You had to find that within yourself to say that I'm going to do it. No one can make you do this. It does start with
exactly.
you. But then the beauty is that you don't have to do it alone. You have to start that process, but then you have to know that there are others that will join on. You're working on your business model. I'm working on my business and things of that nature. And we've got to know that what we have is something that's needed in this society. And there's a trust there because we all need each other to survive. We all need each other. No one is an island. God didn't create, this world just to be by itself. When Adam was created, he said it's not good for man to be alone. So he created woman, out of man, and then he said multiply. So we have to continue to multiply everything that he has given us, from our families to our businesses to our mindsets to the love that's in our hearts to forgiveness, to just walking out this world, you know, irrespective to crisis or not, when it's good, when it's bad, we have to prepare, but we all have to just keep, faith alive. Faith is where it is. Without it, you have nothing, and trust. We have to just trust that the Father has us, and that, he's going to guide us. He's going to get us through. And guess what? We're going to come out greater on the other side, because everything goes higher and higher. You know how they say generations get better and better. When things happen in life, that means that there's something greater to come. So I'm actually looking forward to the greater. I'm like, okay, I've grabbed this thing and I'm excited now. So it's like, okay, we're working through this. It's going to be okay. So now I'm looking at what's going to come. We just finished Resurrection Sunday this past week, past Sunday. And that day before, one of my friends called me, who will be having on from Denmark. She actually had the COVID. She had something, had it going on, had been down for about, I think she said maybe 30 days or something like that. I forget the exact amount of days. She'll be able to share that with us when she comes on. But before we got off, I said, can I pray for you and pray with you? And I prayed, and she said, I felt that in my chest. And I'm like, give God the glory. It's him, because that's what we're supposed to do. And God allowed me to see that night as I slept, gave me a dream, and he showed me dead things resurrecting themselves. And the very next morning, I had a young lady, one of my good friends, called that I hadn't spoken to for quite some time. We hit and miss and keep going, but she wanted to rededicate her life by the time our conversation was over. So I was able to lead her, to her resurrection in Christ Jesus. And then she connected me with an 18-year-old from Canada who had a lot of questions, and she's still filled with questions, but such a beautiful spirit. She shared with me how she wanted to go to church, but because she has tattoos all over her body, and I think she has those hoop earrings with the, that makes the hole, from what I understood. But I told her, no one should keep you from entering the house of God. But I told her also that sometimes when you have been rejected from man, is God protection. So it's all in how we're seeing things. So I was able to help her see that don't look at it as rejection. God didn't want you in that place. So he was protecting you from whatever is going on. Anyone that's, not willing to accept people because of any flaws, that's not a place of God. Bottom line,
Yes.
by the end of that conversation, she was giving her life to Christ as well. So another dead situation resurrected. And even in this time, there are dead situations. People have lost their jobs, and we're going to bring this to a close, but people have lost their jobs, and some things have been grazed over, and the fields have been, just like when you're harvesting, sometimes you got to burn up that ground and start over again. So there's something that has taken place that has died, but because it's resurrection time, look at it. I have to look at it in a positive way, because I've been seeing what God has been doing. He's looking to resurrect some dead things in our lives that maybe we, put to the side, or didn't take notice of. Now we have the time to open our eyes. And first and foremost is rededicating ourselves to him and spending that time. And that's for me as a Christian. Everybody else, whatever your religion, you have to find that place for yourself. But I look at all of this as a time of resurrection, a time of, dead things coming to life and being greater and touching more lives than ever before. So, Catherine, I know we've been on here a little over an hour, more than what we had expected. But I want to thank you, for coming and, being a part of this live and being a part of my resurrection when it comes to a winning world, because I was told it's time to get this thing back on the road. So this is even a resurrection of me coming back and doing that God has called me to do in this time and in this season. So I want to thank you. Is there something that you would like to tell people out there, just to encourage them, to inspire them, that maybe is on your heart before we close out?
Yes. I was thinking that something that most impressed me when I read and research literature on emotional intelligence, on how we need to, what we need, what skills we need to move on and see things differently, is this concept of optimism, of positive outlook. And it's not this looking through the positive pink glasses. It's not that type of skill that people sometimes think. It's this idea and understanding that whatever comes, I will be able to go through this skill, that understanding that we have resources and power to go through, and if not, we can ask from somebody. But it's a positive look in positive outlook, meaning that I will look at the positive side, and what it's negative, I might able, it might not happen, or if it happens, I will deal with that. So there is research saying that they looked at how people dealt with their lives, and they understood that optimism or positive outlook is literally a matter of explanatory style, meaning that they understood that a person is optimist more or a pessimist more depending on how they explain things to themselves. What I mean by that is, for example, if a person says that, oh, this setback is personal, it's like it's all about me, it always happened to me,
Mhm.
or there's three P's, or that they think, for example, something happens to them in one area and they say, oh, this is pervasive, like now I'm literally um dead. This is about my personal life, this is about my job, everything is bad or will be bad. No,
Mhm.
but just from one area. And the third, the way people explain to themselves when they are pessimist or optimist, is that permanence, permanent or not, is like, it's always going to be like that, versus the optimist saying, oh, it's just a season.
Yes.
I was literally so impressed by this categorization. I wanted to hug those researchers because they researched a lot of people, they interviewed them, and they came to this conclusion. The optimist versus optimist is just three components that people explaining in their mind to themselves what's happening to them, whether it's about me or not, personal, or whether it's pervasive or not, like whether it's just a setback in one area, or in a fraction of a second you start to say, oh, it's all my life like that, not. And the third, pervasiveness, if it's sorry, permanence, if it's going to be forever or not. So what I want to encourage people is to, if you want to develop optimism and positive outlook specifically in these situations, just take some time and analyze
Yes.
deeply how are you explaining things to yourself from these three categories, from this framework: personal, pervasiveness, and permanence. How do you explain? If you find yourself more on the other, of the pessimist level, it's okay. You just realize the way your mind somehow works because of some upbringing, because of your experiences. It's not your fault. Just realize that we can train our mind a little bit to look more on the positive. And also another concept for that, to help you in that, is apply reason. It's called cognitive reasoning, like reframing. Is it literally that I logically believe that this is all about me, or maybe it was other? Or I used to have this thing like, it's gonna be always forever. Remember, I was telling you at the beginning of the interview, I couldn't get this concept that if you get something, in your life, it's not gonna stay there for a long time. It might go, and you step into something else. So
Yeah.
I was personally caught long time ago in such a thing. So ask yourself, is it logical that it's permanent, or it's some subconscious negative talk telling you, oh, it's gonna always be forever? And the third
Yes.
thing, is it I am catastrophizing and saying, now that I lost my job, I am a total failure, or I am still the same person, nice person with a lot of dignity and strength, that I can get my power back. And
Yes.
so that was my final thoughts. I found it very, very useful for me and other people, and I would love to leave you with this framework to see how you explain things and improve your optimism level.
Well, I sure do appreciate your coming on and being a part of this live. And
Me
we're
too.
in a new season, really, and great things are coming forth. And I look forward to bringing you back so that you can talk on the emotional um, framework. Emotional, what is it? I'm
Intelligence.
Intelligence. Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. I had a brain freeze there for a moment. But emotional intelligence and what you're doing, and how you're winning in your business aspect. So we're going to bring you back on so that people can understand a little bit more of the little nuggets, because you threw out some beautiful nuggets, but I want them to understand what emotional intelligence is and what God has given to you to actually help, you know, people move to the next level with your curriculum and just your amazing wisdom and knowledge that God has given to you. So thank
Thank
you.
you, Yolanda.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
too. And
Thank you. I really do appreciate it. And
yeah,
to
and
all of,
blessings to our viewers.
yes, to all of our viewers, to all of those that have joined us and will join us or will see this at later times, I thank you for taking this time to be with us. We're praying for you that God's protection be over you, your families. We're going to get through this thing. It's going to be okay. Do what you're supposed to do, but know that we will make it and we are winning. If you have life in your breath, you were born and you're here to win. Living triumphantly by choice, triumphantly winning, living by choice is what it's all about. It is a choice, but just know that you're not in this thing alone. We're here for you to help you through. And I just, I'm just happy. I'm excited about us winning and seeing the winning that is taking place in this world. And as Catherine said, just that mindset. Don't look at it from the negative standpoint. Just flip it around. It just takes a little switch, just switch it around. And at the end of the day, I want you to know that greater things are before us. The bad is back there. Greater things are coming. So I say, as always, with hugs, love, and kisses, I
Bye bye.
salute you and I say goodbye. This is a
Bye
win
bye.
with Shermanda. Bye bye, Catherine. Thank you.
Bye
Bye bye,
bye.
everyone.